Hi there, geeks. Today I have another review for you. This time it will be this bad boy here, Adrenaline, a game I was hyped for so long, and finally I got my hands on it. I was able to play it, and I will tell you a few things about it. This is a 3 to 5 player game, ages 12 and up, and it should take you about, let's say, 60 minutes to play, which seems about right. Um, it's a game about shooting each other. It's a simulation, a board simulation of a first-person shooter around an arena, or kind of arena with rooms, let's say. Um, it's a Euro game. It's a Euro game where the person that gets the most points at the end wins, and you get points by shooting each other. So let's get down to the table and see how it plays, and I'll come back in a few and tell you what I thought about it. Okay, so to set up the game, you will choose a figure each and take the player board corresponding to the color. You take the blood tokens in the same color, and you'll take 3 of each of the ammo tokens here, ammo cubes, and place 1 of each color on your player board. Then you will set up the board. Each of the halves here has 2 sides, so you have 4 possible layouts of the map, and then you'll place on each of the spaces that has this little symbol here, the crate or whatever, you'll place 1 of these tokens of ammo or abilities. I'll get to that in a second. And then nearby each of the 3 or 4 spawn points on the map, you're going to place 3 weapon cards. Then you want to place the little red skull cubes or skull tokens on the board. Depending on how long you want the game to go, it's between 5 or 8. Next, you're going to select a first player in any manner you like, and then you give them the first player token. Let's say the lizard here will go first, and you take, of course, a mini of that player, of that character. And then you want to start the game. So you will place you'll draw 2 cards from the deck, and on the bottom of the card you have a color token, a color, a cube and ammo, basically. You want to choose one and discard it. Let's say we're going to discard the yellow one, and then we want to keep the red one. And this is the spawn point color that we will spawn in. So this is yellow, so let's place the lizard here. And now he is at a disadvantage because he can start his turn now, but he has no one to shoot at. So that's too bad. That's why he gets the first player marker to indicate that he started, and he's at a disadvantage. So right here next to the player board, you have a little token that depicts what kind of actions you can take. First thing it shows, you can take 2 actions, and then shows what kind of actions you can do. So one of these is to move up to 3 spaces around the board. Then you can move one and pick something up, like this token, but you don't need to move. And then the third action you can do is to shoot someone. And then after you've done with your actions, you're going to reload your weapons, and I'll get to that in a second. So the first action is basically to move between 1 and 3 spaces. The second thing is to move one and grab something. So you can grab the token, you can grab a card, and the third action is basically to shoot. So grabbing things. If you want to grab a weapon, you have the ability to move once, or you don't have to, and then you basically pick a weapon and pick it up. So to pick up a weapon, you just select one. Let's say we're gonna take the sniper rifle here, and then up the top of the card there's some ammo symbols here. So the first one is already paid, so you don't need to pay for that. But the rest of the 2, or however many there is at the bottom of beneath it, you need to pay. So we're gonna pay yellow and blue, and we're taking it to our hand. So we have that in hand now, so we're ready to shoot it. So that's the first of his actions. Then we're gonna, let's say, move somewhere that nobody could see us, which is impossible in that game, but let's move here just for the fun of it. And then going around the board, the rest of the players will spawn. Just refill that, and then let's just place them randomly here, like so, for example. Yeah, there's not much space here in this game, which is kind of fun. Let's place it like that so you can kind of see it. Let's just give some weapons to the people. So this goes here, and this goes here. So next one goes round, and we start shooting each other. So how does shooting work? First, let's take the anatomy of the card. There are a few things to see here. First, there's the art, and then there's the primary shooting mode. Let's say this is a scythe, so it's really a not shooting weapon, but it's still called shooting. You have the first ability, it's basic, and you don't need to pay anything for that. The second ability, you need to pay some additional ammo to fire that, and this is an alternative mode if it's depicted like this in the two same fields. So you either do this for free, kinda, and then or you can pay more and do more damage with this particular weapon. The second thing, the second way the card can look is like this. This is the primary mode of shooting. If you add some ammo to it, you add this effect. So if it looks like this, you fire both of them. Then there's this kind of thing, that there's a primary ability, and you can add one yellow to do this, and add one blue on top of that to do this. You don't need to choose any of those two, but you can choose both if you want, or one, depending on how much ammo you have. So let's fire off her, and she has a shotgun. So she would go, for her first action, she would go 2 to get here, and then for her second action, she'll shoot. So she's gonna choose one of those two abilities. So what this says is, if you are on the same spot as the enemy, you can shoot them for 3 damage and then move them 1. Or if you're one space on an adjacent space and you can see them, that's the prerogative for all the cards, unless they say otherwise, like this one. You don't need to see or target. If you're one space further, you just deal 2 damage and you cannot shoot and cannot move them. So in order to shoot that, we need to play this card, and this is unloaded now, and then we just take, that's blue, we take 3 damage and put it on the violet player board. Now this does a few things. When we collectively kill violet, we're going to score points for that. So the first player that deals damage, this is the first blood icon, gets 1 point. And then whoever has the majority here, on the majority of his color here on the track, gets 8 points. Then the next player gets 6, etc., etc. But also, Violet now has upgraded her pickup ability, depicted by the sign here. So right now she can move up to 2 spaces instead of 1 and pick something up. Then if, let's say, there was some more shooting and she gets to here, she upgrades her shooting ability. So the adrenaline, the more damage you get, the more adrenaline you get, and the more effective you are, basically. So now she can move 1 and shoot. When your damage track fills and goes up to, let's fill that, up to here, your character is dead. But no fret, this is not a bad thing. Actually, it does nothing bad for you, aside from maybe move you around the board a bit. So when this goes here, you're ready to players are ready to score this board. So as I said, you see who did the first damage, and you take the 1 point token and give it to the player. And then whoever has the most, in this case that's 2, 4, 5, 3, 5. Yeah, she's further left. So this is a draw between green and blue, but she's further left, so she gets the 8 points. So just give 8 points worth of tokens to the player. Then the other player gets 6, so that's 6 to the green player. And then there's 4 points for the green, for the yellow. So we give him a point. Yeah. And then what we do is we take that and replace it here. And we take the skull. So this is how it works. We get our marker here, and then we place this one here on the 8. So what this does is the more you get killed, the less points you're worth. So this is kind of a catch-up mechanism, wherein if you get killed a lot, you're worth less points than everybody else. So people probably should pick on someone else to get more points. And then when you're done with that, you clear your board, give the blood tokens to their owners. There we go. Let's just remove that, remove that, remove that. There we go. We're good now. And then you spawn as usual. Just pick 2 cards. Let's spawn on the green, on the blue, sorry. There we go. And then that goes here and that goes there. Alright. So that's her turn done. The last thing in her turn that she can do is to reload her weapons. So she can basically spend the ammo that she has here to reload. And then you need to pay all the cost here at the top left hand corner of the card in order to reload. So if she had those 2 yellow cubes, she could spend them to pick the card up and take it into your hand. So basically, people don't know what kind of weapons you have. I mean, they can remember, but they can't see that immediately. And yeah, when the last token here is removed from the game, then every person that doesn't have any damage flips their player board and the token, and the conditions of the game change. Everybody else has 1 more turn before the game ends. And this is basically like a sudden death or frenzy type scenario, where if you were, that's a kind of fun thing. If you are before the first player, you get 2 actions, and they're really upgraded actions. If you are the first player or go after him, you get only 1 action. So what you can do when there's the rush, the frenzy, so if you have 2 actions, you can move, reload, and shoot for 1 action, or you can move 4, or you can move 2 and pick something up. So this allows you to move 2, pick a weapon, and then move an additional 1, reload any weapon that you want, and shoot it. So that's the last chance to get any points or to score any player. One more thing that I haven't mentioned is this little token here, and there are 2 things I haven't mentioned. First is this one. If you ever happen to shoot someone that is dead, or manage to get additional damage on someone that is already here, and this can happen, you get 2 tokens here, which basically helps getting majorities. And then the second thing is that a lot of these weapons give you something that's called a tracer. What you do is you basically, let's say this person shoots this person with this gun. So we can shoot everybody in this room. So for what is it, 1 damage. So we get 1 damage on this guy. Sorry, flip this. There we go. We get 1 damage on this guy and 1 damage on her. But now we also add 1 tracers to each of them. So we give them 1 token here. And what this does is the next time we're going to shoot them, it will be added to the damage. So the more you tag a person or place a tracer on them, the more points it will be worth for you. Now the one thing also I haven't shown you yet is the ability cards. Aside of depicting spawn points, it does a few things for you. So this is basically some additional things that can help you in a game, and you have, I believe, 4 of them. There's a Newton, there's a marker, there's a laser sight, and there was a teleporter. There we go. You can have up to 3 of them in your hand, and you can use them at any point. So you can use Newton to move someone up to 2 spaces. So you can discard this and move any person 2 spaces. Then there's a marker. So whenever someone shoots you, you can play this to, in retaliation, give them a tracer, a tag. There's the teleporter. You can use this to move on any one space on the board for free. And there's the laser sight. You can discard this to remove 1 cube from your board and add 1 damage. So this is kind of like if you're 1 away from killing a person, you can add this and then kill them and score. It can help you get majorities. So yeah, at the end of the game, we tally up our points, we reveal our tokens, and whoever has the most is the winner. There are also a few additional modes for the game. There's the turret mode, where these tokens are removed. Let's remove them. We substitute this with this, like so, and we place those here instead. There you go. Alright. So now, these spaces here become turrets. You can shoot a turret or end the game on a turret to add your token to the turret here. And then whenever someone enters the room, it will shoot them for damage. And picking up ammo tokens, it just happens that you don't pick the one that's here, but you get to choose one from there, and then you refill it. Other than that, this is the same. There's just a bit more things to have in mind because of these turrets. And then there's another one of the modes, which is kind of fun. It's called the domination. There are points on the map, and you basically shoot them or end a turn on them. And the more time you spend, or the more time you spend on this place, or the more damage you deal to it, the more points you gain, basically. So when you fill two of those tracks, you get into frenzy mode and then end the game that way. Whoa! So yeah, that's how you play Adrenaline in a nutshell. It's a really easy to learn game that will give you a lot of enjoyment and a lot of interaction. You choose your targets based on how much points are they worth, or how much you dislike the player. Basically, don't do that. No, that was a joke. Don't do that ever. That's a really bad motivation for shooting each other in a board game. But yeah, you get the points for getting majority of damage dealt to a player, and whoever has the most wins. So there's, like I said, no really bad thing that happens when you die, except that you get moved around the board to spawn somewhere. But that's no big deal. You don't lose your ammo tokens, weapons that you have loaded. So yeah, that's cool. So nothing bad comes when you die. It's really good. It's really good. It's really fun. It's a light game. It's not gonna fry your brain or anything. You just sit down, have some really great fun for an hour with your friends. So if you like it, pick it up. It's from one of my favorite developers or publishers, Czech Games Edition. They have gorgeous artwork every time they release a game, be it Alchemists or Galaxy Trucker or any other game. Basically, they're developed, they published. The artwork was insane, and these are really good games in general. So I recommend it. Pick it up. It's a good game. So stay geek and be proud.